can I ask you something that might feel a little uncomfortable?
Go ahead. I'm ready for it.
When you think right now, what language are you thinking in?
That's actually a really interesting question to sit with.
Because most people who are learning English think in their own language first, then translate, then speak.
And that tiny translation gap is exactly what makes you sound less confident than you actually are.
The crazy thing is, nobody teaches you how to close that gap.
They teach you grammar rules and vocabulary lists. But nobody shows you how to rewire your brain.
And that is exactly what we're doing today. Welcome to Real Life English, the podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Max. Today's episode is How to Train Your Brain to Speak in English.
By the end of this episode, you're going to get 3 things. First, why your brain translates and how to gradually stop it. Second, real daily habits that train your brain to think in English naturally. And third, useful vocabulary you can start using in your conversations today.
This episode is aimed at B1 and B2 learners, but honestly, all levels are very welcome here.
If this is your first time with us, welcome. Hit subscribe and join us every single day.
And here is your comment homework for today.
After you finish listening, tell us, what language do you catch yourself thinking in most often? Leave a comment. We genuinely want to know.
Max, I want to start with something that happened to me a few years ago.
Tell me. I want to hear this.
So, I had been studying French for about 2 years at that point. I knew my grammar, I had a decent vocabulary, and I felt genuinely ready.
That sounds like a good place to be, honestly.
And then a French person spoke to me at completely normal speed, and my brain just froze completely blank.
Oh, the classic freeze. I know that feeling very well.
And I sat there trying to figure out what went wrong, because I knew the words. I had studied them.
So the knowledge was there, but something else was missing.
Exactly. And I realized the problem was my process. In my head, I was doing this: hear French, translate to English, think of my answer in English, translate back to French, then speak.
That is genuinely exhausting just to describe out loud.
Imagine doing all of that in real time while someone is waiting for your answer.
No wonder the brain freezes completely.
And this is what most language learners do without even realizing it. It actually has a name. It's called cognitive load. Cognitive load means the total amount of mental effort your brain is working with at any one moment.
And when you're translating back and forth constantly, your cognitive load goes completely through the roof.
Through the roof. That's a great expression, meaning extremely high, by the way. Like, the rent in this city is through the roof right now.
So your brain is spending all its energy on the translation process, and there's almost nothing left for the actual conversation.
Nothing left for choosing the right words, reading the other person's expressions, or sounding natural and confident.
And so many of our listeners right now are nodding because they have felt exactly this.
That moment where you know perfectly well what you want to say in your own language, but getting it out in English feels like running through thick water.
Everything slows down, and everything feels much heavier than it should.
So, what's the solution? How do you actually stop translating?
And this is the important part. You don't stop all at once.
Your brain has been doing this for many years already.
It's a deeply ingrained habit. Ingrained means something so deeply fixed in your behavior that it happens automatically without thinking.
So you don't break it overnight. You replace it slowly with a new and better habit.
And that new habit is building a direct pathway to English. Pathway means a mental route in your brain that connects straight to English without passing through your first language.
And the beautiful thing about this pathway is that the more you use it, the stronger and faster it becomes.
Scientists actually have a name for this ability. They call it neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means your brain's remarkable ability to change and form new connections throughout your entire life.
So your brain is genuinely not fixed. It can be trained and retrained at any age.
Which means it is never too late to start. That's not just something nice to say. It's actual neuroscience.
So the question now is, what do you actually do every day to build that pathway?
That's coming up next.
Okay, I want to talk about the biggest misconception I see about thinking in English.
What do you think it is?
Most people believe that thinking in English means having long, complex essay-level thoughts in English inside their head.
And because that feels completely impossible, they give up before they even start.
But that's not how it works at all. Thinking in English starts with the smallest, simplest thoughts you can imagine.
Like, I'm hungry. Or this coffee is really good. Or the weather feels strange today.
Those tiny 3- and 4-word thoughts are exactly where the new pathway begins to form.
I want to gently disagree with one part of what you said, though.
Okay, tell me where you think I'm wrong.
I think the real issue isn't just the size of the thought. I think it's the trigger. Trigger means the specific thing that starts a process or a habit in motion.
What do you mean by that exactly?
For most learners, the only trigger to think in English is when they are actively studying. When the book is open, when the app is running, when the class is happening.
But the moment they close everything, it's straight back to their first language.
So the real breakthrough happens when English stops being something you do at study time and starts being something you live in, even in the smallest, quietest moments of your day.
That's actually a really fair point. It's about weaving English into your normal life, not keeping it separate.
Like when you're waiting for the kettle to boil, and instead of just standing there, you think, the water is almost ready, I need to add milk. I wonder if we have any biscuits left.
In English. Out loud or just in your head, it doesn't matter.
Your kettle doesn't care what language you're thinking in.
And here's something genuinely counterintuitive about all of this. Research actually shows that people who think in a second language often make clearer, more rational decisions.
Really? How does that work?
Because a foreign language creates a small emotional distance from the situation, and that distance reduces bias. Bias means an unfair tendency to lean toward one option without fully thinking it through.
So thinking in English could actually make my decisions smarter and clearer?
That's genuinely what the research suggests.
Okay, I am completely sold on this idea now.
But the real point is that English doesn't have to feel like a school subject inside your head. It can feel like a lens, a completely different and interesting way of experiencing your own life.
And that shift from English as a subject to English as a lens, that is the real brain training. The practical steps are coming right now. Before the practical part, let's zoom out for a moment because this topic affects people very differently depending on where they grew up.
And the challenge of thinking in a second language is genuinely not the same experience for everyone.
If you grew up in a multilingual home, maybe you switched naturally between 2 or 3 languages with different family members, your brain already knows how to hold multiple languages at the same time.
Moving into English as another language probably feels more natural and less frightening for you.
But if you grew up in a place where everyone around you spoke only one language and English only ever lived inside a classroom, the switch feels much harder.
And that's not a weakness or a failure. It's just a different starting point.
There's also a really interesting cultural dimension to this whole topic.
In some languages, the structure of a thought is quite different from English. The verb comes at the very end of the sentence, or the most important information comes first.
So when you think in English, you're sometimes not just translating words, you're actually restructuring the whole thought itself.
Which is deeper and more demanding work than most people realize.
And if you're listening from a place where English carries a lot of social prestige, prestige means high status and respect in society, then there can be extra pressure on top of everything else.
People sometimes judge your English very harshly, which adds anxiety, which makes the brain freeze even more.
If that's you, please hear this clearly. The goal is not to perform your English for other people's approval.
The goal is to build a real, private, genuine relationship with English inside your own mind.
Nobody can hear your thoughts. That space is completely safe. Start practicing there first.
Your mind is your practice room, and it is always open and always available to you. All right. Here is your practical framework for today. We're calling it the 3 moments method.
3 moments every day. That is genuinely all you need to start building this habit.
Moment 1. The morning mirror minute. When you first wake up and look in the mirror, spend 60 seconds describing what you see and how you feel. In English.
Out loud or just in your head, it doesn't matter. I look tired today. My hair is a complete disaster. I feel okay, though. I have a lot to get through today.
Simple, natural, and in English, before your brain fully wakes up and automatically defaults back to your first language.
Moment 2, the observation game. Pick one moment during your day, your commute, a walk, waiting in a queue somewhere, and describe the world around you in English.
There's an older man reading a newspaper on the bench. The sky looks like it might rain later. That coffee shop on the corner smells absolutely incredible.
And here is the framework sentence for this moment. Try this one. I notice, and it makes me think, which reminds me of, so I feel...
For example, I notice the streets are much quieter than usual this morning, and it makes me think everyone is still sleeping, which reminds me of lazy Sunday mornings as a child, so I feel a little nostalgic. Nostalgic means a warm, slightly bittersweet feeling when you remember something from the past.
Try that today. It connects observation, memory, and emotion, all expressed in English.
Moment 3. The evening recap. Just before you sleep, spend 2 quiet minutes recapping your day in English. What happened? How did you feel? What surprised you?
Think of it as your brain's nightly download. Download used here as a metaphor, meaning to process and save the day's experiences into your memory.
3 moments: morning, midday, evening. Your brain starts to expect English at these times, and slowly it begins to feel less foreign.
And one day, very naturally, it starts to feel like yours. Word tour time. Let's go through today's vocabulary together. Max, kick us off.
First, cognitive load. The total amount of mental effort your brain is handling at any one moment. Example 1. Translating every sentence you hear increases your cognitive load and slows your speaking right down. Example 2. Good teachers reduce cognitive load by explaining ideas in simple, clear language. Did you catch that one earlier when we used it?
Next, ingrained. So deeply fixed in your behavior that it happens completely automatically. Example 1. Translating before speaking is an ingrained habit for most language learners. Example 2. Breaking an ingrained habit takes time, patience, and consistent daily effort. Did you hear that one?
Pathway. A mental route in your brain that connects directly to a language without going through translation. Example 1. Every time you think in English, you are strengthening that direct pathway in your brain. Example 2. Habits are really just pathways that have become automatic through repetition. Did you catch that?
Neuroplasticity. Your brain's remarkable ability to change, grow, and form new connections throughout your entire life. Example 1. Neuroplasticity means it is genuinely never too late to learn a new language. Example 2. Learning new skills and challenging your brain are two of the best ways to support neuroplasticity. Did you hear that one?
Trigger. The specific thing that starts a process or habit in motion. Example 1. My morning coffee is my trigger for 10 minutes of English thinking every day. Example 2. Find your own personal trigger and attach your English practice directly to it. Did you catch that?
Bias. An unfair tendency to lean toward one option without thinking it through fully and fairly. Example 1. We all carry biases. The important and difficult thing is learning to notice them. Example 2. Thinking in a second language can actually help reduce emotional bias in decision-making. Did you hear that one?
Prestige. The high status and respect that something carries in society. Example 1. In many countries, speaking fluent English carries a great deal of social prestige. Example 2. Don't let the prestige surrounding English make you feel afraid of making mistakes. Did you catch that?
Nostalgic. A warm, slightly bittersweet feeling that comes when you remember something from your past. Example 1. That old song made me feel deeply nostalgic. It took me straight back to my childhood. Example 2. I feel nostalgic for slow mornings with no phone and no schedule. Did you hear that one?
Download. Used here as a metaphor for processing and saving the day's experiences into your memory. Example 1. Sleep is actually when your brain downloads and organizes everything that happened during the day. Example 2. My evening journal is my daily download. I write it all out, and then I feel lighter. Did you catch that?
And our last word, counterintuitive, something that is the opposite of what you would naturally expect. Example 1. It's counterintuitive, but speaking more slowly actually makes you sound more confident and fluent. Example 2, resting more to become more productive feels completely counterintuitive, but it genuinely works. Did you catch that one?
Okay, we have reached the end of today's episode, and I want to leave you with just one clear thought.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Your brain right now is not the same brain that started this episode 30 minutes ago.
New words, new ideas, and new connections have already been forming the whole time you were listening.
And your brain is not your enemy in this process. It is simply doing what it was trained to do for many years.
And you, right now, by listening to this, you are beginning to train it in a completely new direction.
You are not broken. You are not bad at English. You are simply in the middle of a process.
And the middle always feels harder than the beginning or the end. That's completely normal.
The 3 moments method, morning mirror, observation game, evening recap, start with just one of them tomorrow morning.
Not all 3 at once, just one, because 1 is always better than 0.
Over time, those moments will stack up. Those pathways will grow stronger, and one day you will be mid-thought and suddenly realize,
Wait, I'm thinking in English, and I didn't even try.
that moment is genuinely coming for you. Keep going.
Don't forget your comment homework. What language do you catch yourself thinking in most often? Tell us in the comments below.
And if this episode helped you today, please share it with just one person who is learning English.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. I'm Emma.
And I'm Max. Keep training that beautiful brain of yours, and we will see you in the very next episode.
Bye!
Bye for now.